Averaged 245 with the bat that series. Averaged 11 with the ball. Man of the match. Man of the series. Never played again. You know what the moral of the story is?
What's the moral?
Don't run out your captain.
The 200 Diz that we spoke about at the start. I should have gone and looked back at the scoreboard. Why were you in as a night watchman? What had occurred for you to walk out?
So we bowled out Bangladesh for about 190 odd.
In Bangladesh?
In Bangladesh. So we're in Chittagong. I think it's called Chattagram now.
Yeah, I haven't been to Bangladesh.
Yeah, so we were there. It was the second test of the series. So I'd got called up to this series because obviously I'd had a bad Ashes 05 and quite rightly got left out. I missed the whole next summer, 05-06. So there, the Australian team had been a long summer and they'd been to South Africa, Bangladesh. So I got the call up. I think Ricky was keen to have some experience there. Because Glenn was unavailable. His then wife, Jane, was unwell. So he took that tour off. A couple other bowlers were injured. So I was given an opportunity and played the first test. We won that. And then that second test. So we bowled out Bangladesh, and then I get a tap on the shoulder from Rick. And I tell the Sportsman's Night story. I ham it up. I add.
Do this. We're here for mayonnaise.
Do you want mayonnaise?
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of mayonnaise.
Okay,
Diz.
I can add some mayonnaise. So I get a tap on the shoulder. I'm just taking my kit off and shoes off. So I've done my job, 3 for 11 off 5 overs.
Handy.
And I get a tap on the shoulder and I look up, and it's the number 1 Test batter in the world and our captain, Ricky Ponting. And he says, Diz, and I say, Rick. He said, Diz, I can't do it. I said, what do you mean? What's the matter? He said, mate, if we lose a wicket, I can't go out there. You've seen the conditions out there. It's diabolical.
I like this mayonnaise.
You've seen it, Diz, out there. It's not only seaming and swinging, but it's turning square on day one. I can't do it, so you need to do my job. I said, Rick, you're the number 1 Test batter in the world. You average 50 in Test cricket. I've done my job.
3 for 11.
3 for 11 off 5. Put your pads on. Right? No sooner I put my pads on than wicket falls. Matty Hayden succumbed to the
treacherous conditions.
To the treacherous conditions out there. So I had to go out there and bat.
So
and
how long is there to go in the day's play?
It wasn't 15, 20 minutes or so. So I negotiate the challenging conditions, Howie.
What are you on? What are you on at the end of the day's play?
I can't remember.
Not many, a few.
But I was just...
Solid.
It was barn door, mate. Right. No one's getting past that.
Ponting couldn't do it, but
Ponting couldn't do it.
Gillespie could.
Gillespie could. And then, so the next day, obviously, Phil Jakes is out there batting, obviously, early in his Test career. So, as a senior player out there, I had to nurse him through.
Of course you did.
And negotiate. He was shitting bricks. He was nervous as hell. It was hard work out there. And then he succumbed and outstrode Rick. Rick was nervous, obviously.
He only had 8,000 Test runs behind him at this stage.
Only 8,000, so, I had to help him through.
Of course you did.
Yeah, it's just part of what you do as a good teammate.
Team man.
So I nursed him through, said, this guy's turning it square, it's, kicking out of the rough, and the seamers, they're swinging it and seaming it, so you just have to have your wits about you, Rick. So I was on about 20 odd when he came in. He reached his 50, I'd moved to 22.
So he dealt with it on your advice pretty well.
Yeah, but while he was scoring the runs, I was the glue that was holding this partnership together.
Cummins to Maxwell in the World Cup against Afghanistan.
Exactly right, mate. And so then we're batting, and I'm facing left arm spin of Mohammad Rafiq, who comfortably best left arm spinner the history that has ever seen.
So the best of all time.
Best ever, mate. He was unbelievable.
How many tests were yesterday?
Don't know. It doesn't matter.
Right. we might add a note there because I haven't seen him in the top 10 of all time.
Okay.
But anyway.
Okay. But you bear in mind the treacherous conditions that we were facing. So anyway, I've gone and played probably one of the more masterful forward defences. And it squirted out to the offside. And I'm admiring my forward defence. I look up. Ricky's halfway down the wicket calling yes.
Oh, no.
So I did what any, number 9 who's been promoted to number 3 would do in a Test match with his foot behind the line. I just said no.
Did you run him out?
So Rick just had to turn, and he's got the turning circle of QE2, so he's a bit slow, and he's heading back. Little did I know that this fielder here was left-handed, and it literally bobbled up right into his left hand. He's thrown the ball, and he's hit the stumps. Ricky's out by a couple of metres.
You ran Ricky Ponting out.
I might have.
Was he happy with that? He just walked off, didn't say anything?
Not exactly. I heard a couple of choice swear words.
Right.
I heard dizzy a number of times.
Right.
And I heard some banging as he was going up. And I heard an almighty ruckus going on. And that was a moment, Howie, that I knew I couldn't go back into that dressing room.
So this mammoth inning was built on the fact you weren't going to face the little Tasmanian.
I was too scared of Rick.
So that and it's a fantastic story. And I'm glad you told it that way.
Yeah.
But what unfurls is you talked about at the start that you worked hard on your batting because you wanted to be there to support your teammates. Like what's your memory of bringing up 100?
Well, I remember going from 90 to 100. I'd never been in that position in my life because my highest score was actually 90 playing 5th grade for Adelaide.
So not even as a kid you haven't made 100?
No, never made 100.
This is so good, dear.
So I just had to, so I thought about it. So, what's my process been? Just, I have my little bat taps and I just, play straight. I keep my pad out of the way, trust myself to hit the ball.
Run the occasional grade out every now and then.
Run the occasional grade out. I knew if it turned off the straight, which it actually wasn't, all jokes aside, wasn't doing much. If I just made sure I kept my pad out of the way and backed myself to hit the ball, I could do that. If it spun, it'd probably spin past my bat and past the stump, so I'd be okay. And then if it was off the stumps, I'd look to try and score. So that was basically my game plan. And I just thought, well, I've been doing it for 90 runs. I may as well just do it for another 10. So that's literally how my mindset was. And, I had my shots were pretty much driving through the offside if they overpitched. If they got too straight, I'd just sort of tuck away. And then if it was short and wide, I'd just try and cut it. Because it faced a lot of spin. And that was basically how I did it. And, brought up the 100 and raised the bat. I wasn't quite sure what to do. Do you take your helmet off? Or I don't know. And so it just went from there. And then literally
how are the boys receiving you? Because you're coming in and out of breaks. There's lunch, there's tea, there's drinks. Like that.
There's a bit of disbelief. Yeah, that's fair to say. That's fair to say. But I was in a big partnership with Mike Hussey.
Yeah, the great man.
The great Mike Hussey. We put on 320, which was, it's still...
And what was he like to bat with in that situation? He's
he was unbelievable.
Man.
He was unbelievable. And, one quick story. I was in about the 160s. I still...
He says, I'm in 160s.
I was about to say that. I'd still pinch myself saying that, right? But I was in about 160s, and I've played this big, windy whoosh shot, very uncharacteristic, and it's just missed my leg stump by a bee's dick. And Huss just starts coming down the pitch, do a bit of gardening, and he's sort of basically motioning me to come there. I'm thinking, what's going on here? I'm the senior partner here. So I get to the middle. And Huss goes, Diz, what the hell was that? I said, oh, mate, sorry. Just said, Diz, and he's looking at me, and he's pointing his finger. You will never, ever be in this position again to score a test match double, right?
It's a fair point.
It's a great point.
It's a good point.
At the time, my ego was, I'm just hang on, mate, I could do this again, right?
Sure,
I didn't say that to Huss. I'm just in my mind going, I could do this again. Fuck off, Huss. But then Huss, no worries. Yeah, no, you're right. So I turn around and still going, fuck, Huss, bloody hell. Right. But by the time I walked from the middle of the pitch back to my crease, I knew he was 100% right. And I absolutely pulled my head in and then just kept going. And so I finished the Sports Was Right story because Huss succumbed to the great bowling and got out for 180. So I had to keep going. And I think the word from the dressing room was, Diz, if you get the 200, we'll pull the pin. So young Michael Clark, pup, came out and he's batting and he got to 20 or something and 20 not out. And we're just batting together. He's, again, I have to take on the senior role. He's pup, the little Nemo, the little fish. So... I turn Mohammed Rafiq down the leg side, go from 197 to 200, raise the bat. I'm
Harsh as in
jumping
commentary.
around. Harsh as in commentary, doing
He's
brilliant.
laughing,
Yeah,
in fact. He's laughing.
Yeah, I don't know why. It was always on the cards, Howie.
Correct.
So anyway, we're going off. And so how I tell the Sports Results story with a bit of mayo, I just say, look, I saw this as a leadership and learning opportunity for young Michael Clark. And as we're walking off, he taps me on the back, said, Diz, well batted. And I just turned to Michael Clark. I say, son, that's how you score test match doubles.
I love it. I love it.
I can't categorically say if that actually happened.
It doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But a lot of fun.
Did you have a moment, I'm sure, after the test or during the test to reflect that all humour aside, it goes down as one of those much talked about moments in the history of Australian cricket. Like, it's something phenomenal you did. It's not like we're not seeing Ricky Ponting come out to bowl and take 9 for. Like, it's the equivalent. In fact, it's probably more than that. Yeah. Like, it's an amazing feat you achieved. Yeah,
it was a funny one because it would have been interesting if I'd actually straight after that series, after that match, came back to Australia. But I actually went straight from Bangladesh to England because I was fulfilling my commitment with Yorkshire.
Okay.
And I remember...
As a top order batter.
So I turn up, my first training session with Yorkshire, we're playing against Warwickshire at Edgbaston, and I go into bat for my first bat. This is literally a few days after I scored a double 100.
Yeah.
Couldn't hit a ball off the square, right? The boys are all looking at each other and go, did that actually happen? And then we went, the first night I was with the Yorkshire boys, we went to the Walkabout pub in Birmingham.
An Aussie pub.
An Aussie pub. Guess what's up on the screen,
Oh.
right? They replayed my 200,
How
right?
good.
And I'm just there, all the Yorkshire boys are just looking at me, and then all the Aussies in the bar are just looking at me, and I'm just standing there going, oh, God, like, this is just bizarre. Like, it was just really weird. But, nah, look, I look back, I still, it's 19 years ago now. And to say I've got a test match double 100 is still ridiculous in my own head to say.
That's brilliant.
Because I always prided myself. I was a bowler,
Yes.
but I'm almost remembered for a double 100.
I think you are.
But the most proud achievement I have is, taking wickets for Australia and winning test matches and winning test series. That's what I hang my hat on. Like, yes, that was great. That was my last test match. And this is where I finished my story, the moral of the story. Averaged 245 with the bat that series. Averaged 11 with the ball. Man of the match. Man of the series. Never played again. You know what the moral of the story is?
What's the moral?
Don't run out your captain.